Our efforts have always revolved around three principles. One, the comfort of the animal. Two, the productivity of the animal. And three, the health and safety of the stockman.
Did you hear that?
Principles. It has good intention, but creates several challenges.
I chuckled a little bit. I almost laughed. But it's actually not funny. Let's first, Prop 12, a California ballot proposition in that state's general election from 2018. So we're going back. The Prevention of Cruelty to Farm Animals Act passed by a vote of 63% yes to 37% no. So the California people wanted this by more than 3 million votes. Just to be clear. Establishes new standards for confinement of specified farm animals, banned sale of non-complying products initiative statute. So basically, it sets standards for how much space you give to the animals in factory farms. Vice President, National Pork Producers Council. Look at this fuck.
Our next witness is Mr. Matt Scheidemann, a pig farmer and board member with the Iowa Farm Bureau. He lives and farms with his wife, Mindy, and their 7 children near Sioux Center in Sioux County, Iowa.
Could be, need to be.
You're making Daddy proud, Patrick. He's so proud of you. His little boy. If y'all haven't been following, they're trying to use the inflated egg prices due to the bird flu that they are causing with their factory farms to regulate less. They don't have any courage. They can't branch out from the family, do other things. It's just got to be what Daddy did.
And while I'm a current resident of Washington, D.C., I grew up on a fair-to-finish hog farm in Northeast Iowa.
I grew up on a farm just like Daddy did, making Daddy proud. All these, they are so fucking, what's the word? Unimpressive.
My family continues actively farming today. I'm here this morning to discuss.
Yeah, we guessed.
My name is Travis Cushman. I'm the Deputy General Counsel for Litigation and Public Policy at the American Farm Bureau Federation. I'm honored to provide.
Is there anybody good at this hearing? Is it just the Farm Bureau and the Pork Council? Is that it?
This testimony today on behalf of Farm Bureau members across the nation. Along with the National Pork Producers Council, I spent the better part of 4 years litigating Farm Bureau's challenge to California Proposition 12. Our legal challenge was based on
And you lost.
constitutional doctrine called the Dormant Commerce Clause. The doctrine states that because Congress has exclusive power to regulate interstate commerce, states do not. In short,
By the way, that's pretty impressive to be part of the animal ag team and to lose at a Supreme Court that is 6-3 conservative. Well done. I hope they keep you. Please stay in that position.
My name is Lily Rocha. I'm a lifelong Andalino and the executive director of the Latino Restaurant Association based in Los Angeles. The LRA represents thousands of small family-owned Latino restaurants who are the cornerstone of their communities, primarily in Southern California, but also now.
And you're there. Why?
I'm here today to explain the harm Proposition 12 inflicts on minority-owned businesses and low-income families. Harm is what Prop 12 has caused.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and play the race card while we're at it.
For our Latino restaurants, carnitas are not just a meal. They are part of our heritage.
Oh, wow. It's part of Latino heritage. Oh, okay. Yeah, not like it's like part of white people's culture to eat meat, right? Oh, no. Not white people. This is about minority. Okay, got it. If only Latino businesses had discovered beans and rice. Wait, that seems to me like the first thing I think of when I think of Latino food. Beans and rice.
Even though you've complied partially with Prop 12, will you be able to survive if the goalposts keep moving?
Thank you, Chairman Thompson. Yes, this isn't a concern for our farm.
What happens to producers that have already invested to become Prop 12 compliant if we preempt it, Ms. Roca?
Yep. Good question.
Is there any concern with that?
From a consumer perspective, our concern would be in the pricing, of course. So that would be something that, we're looking at increasing prices for not just the consumer, but also for restaurant owners who actually purchase the product.
Mr. Cushman?
Thank you for the question. This kind of a law would not require those farmers that have changed operations to change back. They're not making it illegal for them to continue farming that way and serving whatever markets do want to purchase those products, and really provide farmers a choice on how they would proceed going forward. And importantly, to protect those farmers that have made the change from any future changes that another state might have by enacting another law that's contradictory to Prop 12 or further moving the goalposts further than what Prop 12 did.
Yeah, he's avoiding the question. The question is the producers who have gone on to comply with the law have spent money to do that. So now would they be disadvantaged if they got rid of the law, thus rewarding the companies who ignored the law, which there are many, and didn't follow the law? And of course, yes.
And finally, to protect current farmers that are not compliant with Prop 12 to be able to serve markets across the country.
Ms. Cook?
Thank you. I would begin by saying producers who are currently compliant will be the best positioned to continue serving markets, excuse me, where there's a demonstrated demand for those products. But additionally, producers of compliant and
Oh, wait.
non-compliant
Why? That doesn't make any sense. Let's hear that. Let's hear that
concern
again.
about Thank you. I would begin by saying producers who are currently compliant will be the best positioned to continue serving markets, excuse me, where there's a
I think that little lump in your throat was the bullshit that you were trying to.
demonstrated demand for those products. But additionally, producers of compliant and not compliant have a shared concern about patchwork and the future risks to investments in the pork industry.
Mr.
So that made no sense at all, and also just kind of didn't answer the question.
I would agree with what Holly said in terms of the market demand, and I would defer over to
I agree with the nonsensical answer that Holly gave.
Patrick with his experience in the conversion of their operation.
Mr. Hort, the chairman.
So in other words, no answer. Not a one person answered honestly to that. There was no answer to that. Holly's the only person who actually answered the question. It just made no sense. So her answer was that the farms that have currently implemented the changes for this 7-year-old law are in the best position. How? Why? Huh? Why? You're saying this thing that is overwhelmingly, that they're complaining is cost prohibitive. They're saying it's raised all the prices, and they're saying that, oh, they're in the best position to continue operating. Well, if that's the case, then maybe all of them should be Prop 12 compliant so that they're all in a good position. It doesn't make any sense. Holly, come on, Holly.
I think this is a U.S. pork industry concern, from the smallest producer to the larger ones. And so, no, I do not think this is in any ways helps any foreign. In fact, our foreign trading partners are concerned about this, and I think at times could be looked at as an advantage for other countries. So but yeah, that's kind of how, as National Pork Producers Council, what we think about
Thank
that.
you, Mr. Horton.
Daddy's so proud of you, Patrick.
But from the legal side of things, do you have any concern that section of the Farm Food and National Security Act of 2024 will somehow give China unfettered access to our agricultural markets?
Travis.
Mr. Cook, can you explain generally how much production costs increase when
Travis, you didn't push the button. He's as good at committee hearings as he's good at being a lawyer.
the National Security Act of 2024 will somehow give China unfettered access to our agricultural markets? I mean, Mr. Cook, can you explain generally how much production costs increase when a producer has to? I'm sorry, Ms. Cook.
Retail,
Hey,
all of the
Travis.
segregation and trace. So that's what we're on. But
See what she
thank you
did
for the
there?
question.
Travis, wait.
If so, what are they?
Look. You see that? How her hand was right there? Travis, you got to push the button. But I think you misplaced what the problem is. Could the problem be, Mr. Scott, that the animal agriculture industry has a stranglehold over the Republican Party and many of the Democrats in this committee hearing? Could that be the problem?
Chair now recognizes Mr. Bacon for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. Appreciate y'all being here today.
Oh, Mr. Bacon. Oh, boy. Here we go.
Would it cost you more than $50,000 to modify your operation to comply?
Pretty easily more, yes.
So maybe 100,000. I mean, that's an incredible cost to each individual farmer. I know
Oh man, if only the animal agriculture industry could get some kind of gift from Congress, like $58 billion.
it varies based on the size, but I just think we have to realize this is what we're asking individual farmers to do to comply with this.
Sorry, 58 additional billion dollars from the taxpayers.
Is that right?
It was a very difficult decision to understand and read. That is, in essence, what the court said.
You worked on the case, right, Travis? It was hard for you to understand. Yeah, that's probably why you lost. Good job on the button, though. You're getting better.
This committee should be holding hearings on the impacts that the big ugly bill, which is now law, are going to have on nutrition programs. I mean, we should be having before us right now experts, heads of food pantries and food banks. We ought to have people with lived experience who rely on these nutrition programs about what will happen when the big ugly bill forces millions of people off a SNAP. 42
Based. I like this guy already.
million people are going to see their benefits cut. We're told that 5 million people, older adults, veterans, families with teenagers, former foster youth, are at serious risk of losing their benefits outright. What Republicans did in this committee on reconciliation, I believe, is unconscionable, all to fund and offset the cost of tax cuts for multimillionaires and billionaires. And it should be the focus of this committee to end hunger in this country and not make it worse. And by the way, ending hunger is good for the American farmers too. They produce the food that is purchased with SNAP, and that's where our focus should be. Now, bring me to today's hearing. I'm astounded that we're
Well, I mean, you seem very naive, sir. You see, Congress doesn't solve problems. Congress starts problems and then talks about fake solutions to the problems. So I feel like you're in the wrong place. You sound like you're talking a little bit of sense, and you might want to find some new friends.
taking what little time we have before the August recess to once again have Republicans use Prop 12 as a punching bag to distract from corporate consolidation in the meat sector. Now, we have gone around in circles over Prop 12 and other states' anti-animal cruelty laws for years. And the largest pork producers are not happy. That 66% of all Americans oppose confinement rates. That's from a Harris poll, by the way. They went all the way to the Supreme Court a few years ago with an unconstitutional argument that undermined the most basic concepts of federalism. They lost. And now, instead of moving on, and so many family farmers, as so many family farmers have done, by the way, they've come to Republicans for a legislative bailout. But this here.
Oh, you're not going to get your money from the Farm Bureau, Jim McGovern.
But this hearing will not get them closer to overturning Proposition 12. And that's because this hearing is an intentional misrepresentation of reality. The reality is that Prop 12 took effect at the beginning of last year, and the fear mongering has fallen flat. Farmers in Iowa have not been forced to go crate-free if they don't want to. Grocery shelves are not empty. The egg industry actively supports Prop 12's cage-free requirements. Major retailers and restaurants support Prop 12. And many pig farmers, especially the 82% of pig farmers who have fewer than 500 pigs, are now benefiting from the new market opportunities for humanely raised meat. Now, a lot of good has come from these state laws, and Republicans still want everyone to believe that state laws to make sure pigs have enough room to turn around, as most Americans want, are some sort of Marxist plot against the heartland. And this leads me to the greatest misrepresentation
This guy is awesome.
of all today. There are thousands of farmers who vocally support Proposition 12, but Republicans have not given them an opportunity to speak today. With all due respect to this panel, and I appreciate Ms. Lashman's neutrality, this is not a balanced panel. One would think there's not another side to this argument, but some of
I love this guy.
these farmers who
I
support
love
Proposition 12 are here. I've met them. They're in the audience, and they deserve a voice in this conversation because their livelihoods are at stake. And I ask unanimous consent to insert over 150 letters, Mr. Chairman, that I received from many of these farmers who support Proposition 12. I ask unanimous consent to put them on the record. These farmers have been shut out of this process, and let the record reflect that. Republicans love to talk about regulatory certainty, which I've figured out is euphemism for taking away anything they don't like. What about the certainty for these farmers who have made investments to go crate-free, who have followed the rules, and now you want to pull the rug from under them? Let me make this as clear as possible. If you kill Prop 12, you are putting independent family farms at risk. They will not be able to shoulder the cost of going backwards the way the factory farms can. It will be get big or get out all over again. And it will be crystal clear who cheered on the corporate
Get big or get out.
operators why they ate up the last of the family farms in America. And one final thing, when Republicans were fighting with each other over the big ugly bill, one of the most contentious issues was a provision to block states from having their own regulations on AI. It almost tanked the bill. Folks do not like it when people in Washington try to override local decisions. And the divides among Republicans on Proposition 12 are not going to go away. I have news for my Republican friends. Washington doesn't always know what is best. Respect what our states are doing. With that, I yield back my time. And Mr. Judge, I'll make sure all 150 of my letters are going to be in the record, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank
If
you.
you want to submit.
Submit those letters, bitch. Mr. Johnson, are you leaving out some details in your completely non-biased questioning?
12 missing? What do they not understand about sow behavior? What do they not understand about animal husbandry that causes them to misfire so dramatically on their views of what these animals really need to be safe and sound?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. I think in terms of welfare, we are where we are today in our production systems because we're trying to find the best welfare for the sow. And sometimes that leads us to more confinement, but truly, as we've studied things over the years, it's the best outcome for the sow.
All right, we're going to do it. Let's take a look at what they consider excellent welfare.
Individual cages in which, like the farrowing crates, sows are only able to take 1 or 2 steps forward or backwards and are unable to turn around. While gradually being phased out by the majority of piggeries in Australia, sow stalls remain entirely legal with no penalties for keeping sows confined to them for longer than the voluntary limit of 5 days.
Trust them, guys. They are very concerned about animal welfare and husbandry. Oh, what a nice word, animal husbandry. I trust this man, Matt Scheitman.
So every producer I've ever met cares about animal welfare. They understand that that is a living creature worthy of decent treatment. But let's assume that wasn't the case. Let's assume that it was just about dollars and cents. Do animals under duress thrive? Do animals under duress put on weight?
I think that's a great question. And I think the interesting thing about a female sow herd is that if there's poor welfare, your pocketbook will suffer because poor welfare will lead to decreased production every time. And it's almost an instant feedback when you're managing the breeding herd poorly to what you're going to get out at the end. So I think that's a great.
This is a very common argument from the pork industry that, you know, if they were mistreated, then it would affect all the production. The pigs who are in those crates don't have any stimulation. And so what they show in the film is a worker going around smacking them in the head so that they will stand up for a few minutes so that they don't just rot to death, which they do anyway.
Good question. Thank you.
So again, a tier 1, decent humans care about animal welfare, but
I don't think this guy has seen any of that. Wouldn't it be great if all these fucking politicians would have to watch Dominion or Earthlings? I would love to watch Mr. Johnson squirm in his seat as he watched the industry that he is so shamelessly defending.
it has reduced the viability of small family operations, and it has injured animal welfare. Proposition 12 is a fantastic failure, and it is time for...
Buddy, the small dick energy right now is radiating from you. Please, sir, don't take it out on animals that your dick is so tiny. Please. Find another line of work.
Congress to fix that mistake. With that, Mr. Chairman, I would yield back.
Chair now recognizes Ms. Adams of North Carolina for 5 minutes.
It is not the pig's fault that your fucking micro penis won't get any bigger. I'm sorry that it stopped growing when you hit the age of 7. That's not their fault.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to, first of all, to ask for unanimous consent to submit into the record written testimony from ASPCA opposing overturning Proposition 12 and other state laws. Ms. Howard, I have a question,
Right,
yes or
Felix?
no for you. Are you aware that there are pork producers who are benefiting from the market created by Proposition 12?
Hang on, let me, oh, that's my gal, Alma Adams. She's typically pretty awesome.
There are definitely producers that are raising Prop 12 compliant pork. Yes.
Okay.
That didn't answer the question. That's not what she asked.
And so created by Proposition 12.
It really wasn't that hard of a
Mr.
question.
Howard? Yeah, yes or no, sir?
So was that question to me?
Are you aware that there are pork producers who are benefiting from the market created by Proposition 12?
Her question, again, Patrick, if you didn't hear it correctly, was, are you aware that there are pork producers who are benefiting from Proposition 12? Your answer was, yes, there are pork producers who are Prop 12 compliant. Didn't answer her question.
There are definitely producers that are raising Prop 12 compliant pork. Yes.
Okay. And so
Oh boy.
Congressman McGovern is introducing letters from hundreds of these farmers that it would be helpful if you get to know them because they may be your members. I think he's already spoken to that. So why is NPPC working against these farmers?
Thank you.
Yeah.
For this question for me.
Why are you working against your own farmers, Patrick Horde? Make Daddy proud.
Too as
Yes,
well?
yes,
Okay.
uh-huh.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, the challenge is we have a state that raises 0.1% of the pork in the U.S. And so when they make a mandate, it forces essentially mandates to the rest of the country that there has to be conversions to this mandate. And so I think NPPC's position is the concern that it's forcing other states to be able to meet the demand.
Guys, by the way, Alma Adams is fucking a champ. See, there are people who think that all politicians are shit, and part of me agrees with that. And then there are people like Alma Adams who, you know, I'm sure she's a typical politician a lot of the time, but there are some base politicians. Do not be fooled. I've met many of them, including on both sides of the aisle. I've met Republicans who are pretty damn cool. I've met Democrats who are pretty damn cool. And they're just people, okay? I realize the vast majority of politicians suck ass, but there are exceptions.
Of one state that of another state, and I think that's the crux of the concern here, ma'am. Thank you.
So let me ask you: does NPPC receive any government pork commodity checkoff funds? To your knowledge?
Yes, yes. So NPPC is a voluntary checkoff organization.
Okay. What
Ooh.
percentage of your funds consists of commodity pork checkoff funds? Do you know what the percentage is?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the
What
question?
percentage?
Yeah, what percentage of your money comes from the fucking government, you fucking shill?
Of your budget consists of commodity pork checkoff funds?
Well, I could not answer what the exact percentage is being used.
I'm sorry. Vice President of the National Pork Producers Council couldn't answer that question. Who should she ask? Who would know in your organization if not the vice president? Ugh, Daddy's not going to like that.
I mean, everything for us, NPPC is a public policy.
Okay, well, you don't have a percentage that you know of. Okay, well, let me move on. I've heard from producers and companies, both large and small, that have invested in Proposition 12 complaint systems, not because they agree with or support Proposition 12, but because the law was passed in 2018, and they had a business decision to make. They decided to invest in a compliance system to supply a large market, and some of those producers had invested tens of millions of dollars. They faced nearly 5 years of uncertainty from the initial January 2022 implementation date. And when the Supreme Court ruled in 2023, they hoped that this was finally a settled matter. Now Congress is introducing even more uncertainty. Those producers who invested are the ones who will be hurt. Ms. Lashman, have you seen any data that assesses the cost that these producers will incur to revert back to the traditional system?
No, ma'am, I've not seen specific data on that. I certainly have heard producers discuss that is a concern for them, but I don't have specific numbers on that.
Okay, in your opinion?
Well, that's the first time that we've heard that there would be concerns for them to revert back. That might have been relevant for everybody to bring up in the beginning. Yeah. All fell on Miss Adams.
Will the EATS Act as written or any preemption of Proposition 12 be subject to additional legal challenge and additional years of uncertainty for these producers who are simply trying to follow the law to have access to a market?
I think it's safe to say if Congress acts in this space, it's very likely that it will be challenged in the courts.
It does. It does make it a challenge. The fact of the matter is, though, that mostly Prop 12 is being supplied from the U.S. market, and so I don't immediately think it's a global trade issue. Although NPPC supports global trade and is advocating on that.
You just contradicted yourself, Patrick. It was part of your testimony. It was your testimony.
Prop 12 isn't only a domestic problem. It applies to and greatly concerns our trading partners. The Canadian government, for example, is analyzing the effects of Prop 12 and considering the U.S. obligations under the USMCA and the WTO. To summarize, Prop 12's housing standards were developed without the input of
Okay, you heard it. It's a concern to our trading partners. Now, 30-30. Let's go back. Okay, let's go back a bit.
California, which does give some concerns with the USMCA as well as the WTO concerns. So that is a concern of MPPC.
In your mind, do inconsistent state requirements like Prop 12 make it harder for us to compete globally?
It does. It does make it a challenge. The fact of the matter is, though, that mostly Prop 12 is being supplied from the U.S. market, and so I don't immediately think it's a global trade issue. Although MPPC supports.
I'm gonna make a video about this. Oh, Daddy's gonna not be happy with that answer. Patrick, remember, I'm working on a cream for hurt butts, or someone is. So when your daddy spanks you later, just hit me up, give me a call, and as soon as the cream for butt hurt comes out, I will get you a big stock of it. Don't you worry. I'll get you. I got you.
Ms. Cook,
You know, sex is great, but when the Pork Council contradicts themselves in the same hearing, that's pretty good too, right?
Obviously, this is a hearing that impacts California, and I would hope to believe, as a third-generation farmer from California, that this isn't a morning to simply beat up on California. And I, with all due respect, am not feeling that the panel that we have here, as good as it is balanced in terms of the different points of view that clearly are involved with a lot of other elements of agriculture and farmers that have adjusted and are taking advantage of the opportunities.
That was a very nice way to say that this is horseshit
that Proposition 12 provides. The hearing today, I think, is obviously focused on the grievances on Prop 12. And let me be clear, I did not endorse Prop 12. It was a measure approved by the people of the state of California in 2018. It has created a niche marketplace for producers, but we also need to know that it wasn't fully implemented until July 1st, 2023, because of the litigation that took place.
Okay, thank you for answering my question. So it was fully implemented in 2023. So again, they keep talking about how would this affect prices? Apparently, this has been in effect for nearly 3 years. So, yeah.
In terms of the impacts on the market, while some studies have been cited, I don't think anyone cited the Oklahoma State University professor of economics, who indicated from an economic analysis I reviewed, there was no indication that Prop 12 has contributed to elevated pork prices at the national level.
Uh-oh. Careful. You might not get that Pork Council money.
Insert that for the record. I think there are a lot of other elements that impact market prices, and let's start with tariffs.
Yep.
Mexico is the top valuation destination for U.S. pork. Last year, $2.5 billion. China is the U.S.'s largest market for pork variety meat by a value of $1.1 billion. Canada is the top market for U.S. processed pork and the fourth largest market for U.S. pork markets at $852 million. And of course, so what are we doing with Canada and Mexico? We're in a trade war. We're in a trade war. When in fact, in 2020, President Trump, after the conclusion of the U.S.-Mexico trade agreement, I think I remember him saying the best and most beautiful, greatest trade agreement ever known to mankind. Now we are in a trade war with our two biggest trading partners, Mexico and Canada, which accounts for about 40% of our trade, a lot of agricultural trade back and forth. It makes no sense to me. And by the way, that provision of USMCA had a good provision in it. It asked every 5 years for a review period. Guess what? We're in that 5-year period for the review period. Why not take advantage of that best, greatest trade agreement ever known to mankind that was signed by President Trump in 2020? This is a lot about political rhetoric. And I think this trade war goes to the heart of impacting American farmers. I'm a third-generation farmer. And I can tell you in California, we're most fearful about the impacts of our markets that we've established. 44% of our agriculture in California is exported. It's exported. And when we went through this scenario and Trump won, we lost market share that we still have not gained back. So the reality is we are losing markets largely due to uncertainty and inconsistency of this administration's inability to negotiate trade deals. 90 days, 90 countries, maybe here, maybe there. I don't know. But certainly the uncertainty and the confusion in the market space continues to lead to the questionability of the United
Taco Trump. Art of the deal, though. Art of the deal.
Farmers. It impacts California farmers. That's a fact.
So it's simple economic lesson. Less food being produced, less food being exported, more tariffs equals higher food costs. That's the bottom line. And tariffs are a tax on American consumers, American producers, American agricultural producers, and that relates to higher food costs. So I'd be remiss if I did not indicate that when we talk about Prop 12, when we talk about the other initiative, high path avian flu was largely responsible for the increase in the costs of egg production, and that gets overlooked. I mean, the impact of high path avian, we've depopulated 170 million layers, 30 million this year, and in California, 17 million. So I yield back the balance of my time, but I think that we're missing the point here.
Gentleman yields.
Yep.
In my home district, in Guyman, Oklahoma, we have a seaboard plant, and they process around 22,000 pigs a day.
Process? Oh. How come you don't ever say the word kill, I wonder?
Yes.
Exactly. Mr. Chairman, I can't think of an issue more important than to consumers all over the country, maybe the world for that matter, than this issue. And I yield back.
Well, thank you, Mr. Lucas. I'm so glad that you're so concerned about your Pork Council donations.
Gentleman yields back. Now recognize the gentlelady from the Buckeye State, Congresswoman Brown, for 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Buddy,
Mr.
you just had to go get some marshmallows. It looks like you're gonna fucking die.
Chairman and Ranking Member Craig. I want to start by putting today's hearing in context. The Supreme Court has ruled on this issue. This is settled law. The court was clear. States have rights to establish standards for goods sold within their borders. Proposition 12 wasn't a federal mandate. It was a ballot initiative passed democratically and overwhelmingly by California voters. And other states have followed suit. States across the country have either already passed or have introduced popular and often bipartisan measures that reflect local consumer values on animal welfare, food safety, and consumer transparency. This committee often hears concerns, particularly from my friends on the other side of the aisle, about federal overreach and one-size-fits-all policies that don't work for farmers and businesses on the ground.
So good.
Yet, here we are doing
Yet,
the opposite,
here we are.
discussing ways to override democratically enacted regulations at the federal level. The reality is that major food and agricultural companies across the country have already moved to comply with Prop 12. They have made investments, integrated new standards into their supply chain, and adapted to a changing market. That tells us that these benchmarks are both possible and marketable. What farmers need right now is certainty, not uncertainty from members of Congress reopening what's already been decided. Mr. Cushman, American Farm Bureau represents millions of farms of all shapes and sizes across the country. In your testimony, you mentioned several concerns about farmers transitioning to comply with Prop 12 standards. However, I'm wondering if you can also speak to some of the challenges farmers who have already transitioned to Prop 12 compliant infrastructure may face if Congress were to overturn the law. What kind of economic impact could those farmers have?
So this has been asked before. You didn't get an answer yet, so Ms. Brown is asking it again. Let's see how you do now.
Thank you so much for the thoughtful question. If Prop 12 was overturned, it would not impact those farmers' ability to continue their operations in the way that they see fit. They can continue serving the markets that have a demand or request for Prop 12 compliant meat. What it would do is prohibit states from continuing to enact these kinds of patchwork of ratcheting up their requirements.
So again, you're not answering the question. Boy, yeah, they struggle with this question. She's talking about the producers who already put this into effect. And according to y'all, it's so cost prohibitive. So her question is that the farms that have already, I see you're struggling with this, Travis. So her question is that the farms that have already done this and are having these such burdensome costs, how will they be affected to be able to compete with those who didn't do it? Travis, please give us an answer.
So in that way, protect those farmers that have made those investments from other states.
Hang on,
What
hang on.
economic impact could those farmers have?
Thank you so much for the thoughtful question. If Prop 12 was overturned,
It was a thoughtful question. I wish it had been answered when the other member of Congress, I believe it was Alma Adams, asked the exact same question.
it would not impact those farmers' ability to continue their operations in the way that they see fit. They can continue serving the markets that
Wasn't the question.
have a demand or request for Prop 12 compliant meat. What it would do is prohibit states from continuing to enact these kinds of patchwork of ratcheting up their requirements. So in that way, protect those farmers that have made those investments.
No. Travis, wasn't the question. She's asking how they would be disadvantaged from the farms who didn't do this.
From other states, changing and having a 25 square foot per sow rule or a 30 square foot per sow rule.
Thank you. And Ms. Lashman, your testimony also mentions.
Oh, I wish she pressed. Good question, Ms. Brown. I wish you pressed them on it, though. They need to say, like, you didn't answer my question. Just for the record, you didn't answer my question, but okay, moving on.
Investment that many farmers have made to be in compliance with be in early compliance with Prop 12. Do you have anything to add about what that impact may be on those farmers?
Oh, she's asking it again. She's trying to get an answer from somebody.
Yeah, I would agree with Mr. Cushman that none of the bills we've seen require those farmers to convert back to the systems that they were under pre-Prop 12. That
Wasn't the question.
may overlook the cost that they've already spent in making those changes in the first place, right? So they have already made those changes. They've got those sunk costs. And I think that that's a point that they frequently raise, both in lawsuits and otherwise, when they're looking at those costs, that they've already spent them. So even if there's no requirement that they go back into law, they will have to analyze whether that's something that they want to do and more cost they'd want to incur.
Thank you.
Was that so hard? I just want to point out something very obvious that I hope people will understand. I hear it all the time. There's no difference between Republicans and Democrats. Anybody who's watched this hearing can see there's a pretty big difference between Republicans and Democrats. This is why I vote for Democrats. People who say that Democrats and Republicans are the same are not paying attention. They are the opposite. Do they often cave in the same way? Yes. Are they often beholden to the same industries? Yes. Do a lot of them suck? Yes. But there's a big difference.
When I visited family farms in my district, they noted that the system has caused increased stress, injury for the animal, mortality, while limiting individualized animal care, right? And yet Prop 12 is supposed to make sure that doesn't happen. Can you explain?
Please explain to me how giving animals more space is causing them stress.
What's happening? Why do they have stress and injuries from Prop 12?
I think the part of the root of the problem is just simply the fact that you have an initiative that was crafted by people who have not lived the industry, who have not been around the animals, and you know, those of us who've been around it for generations can tell you, well, this animal is going to do this, and if you give this animal this space, she's going to do this, and that's really that institutional knowledge. What Prop 12 does is it takes away our ability to act on what we know for the best interest of the animal. And maybe it's been settled in other places, but that has not been settled in Iowa. And we would prefer to have the freedom to manage our animals the best way we can see fit.
You would prefer to have no oversight whatsoever, which is pretty much what you have right now.
For the best possible outcome.
That's right. Thanks for your expertise on this. You live it and breathe it
Wow, what an expert.
every single day. And think about this. So I just
No, Mr. Feenstra. Please, okay. Please, someone ask Mr. Scheitman how giving animals more space causes them more stress. I would love to hear that explanation. I mean, sure, it makes a lot of sense, but
talked about Iowa being the largest state in the nation for producing hogs. California, on the other hand, makes up less than 1/10 of 1% of pork production, 1/10 of 1%, and yet they're creating the law. And we make 40%. 40% of the hogs come out of Iowa.
oh dear.
And yet we are bound by a state that is 1/10 of 1% of the hogs. How egregious is that? How clueless.
It's okay, Mr. Feenstra. I promise you, that within 10 years, I will have the butt cream for you. Don't worry.
I have an idea of what these animals are going through. And when you create larger pens, they destroy each other. That's what hogs do. This is just stupid. And the animal is far worse off by Prop 12.
Far worse off. Far worse off. Show us the evidence there, Mr. Feenstra.
What are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing?
This all happens because California has a liberal progressive agenda that has no idea what farming is all about.
Yeah. A liberal progressive agenda. I spent a lot of time in, well, not a lot of time. I spent some time in liberal California trying to get them to pass a ballot measure to ban factory farming. And those liberal progressives did not give two fucks about the animals. So go fuck yourself, Mr. Feenstra.
Be clear, Prop 12 is a direct threat to our viability of family farms, the health and welfare of animals, and the affordability of pork production in America. I stand with my Iowa hog farmers, and I urge this committee to act. Food security is national security, and Prop 12 is putting both at risk. And I yield back.
You earn that pork council money. Oh, you'll be getting donations. Mary's got a butt ring for Mr. Feenstra there. Here's Representative Feenstra. Just going to contact him. Okay. So let him know that you've got a used butt ring that he can borrow or have.
Illinois is one of the top pork producing states in the country, and I've heard directly from our producers and organizations like the Illinois Pork Producers Association.
Oh, I bet you've heard from them. Yeah, that's not a shock, Mrs. Miller.
And the Illinois Farm Bureau about how Proposition 12 places a strain on family farms. The reality is simple.
Mrs. Miller, a moment. Let's have a chat. Mrs. Miller. Mrs. Miller. Okay, I'm going to look at the camera. This is you and me right now. Nobody else here. Nobody watching. When you have a lobbying group knocking on your door, typically they're not the ones with the facts. They're the ones who are trying to get you to do something for money. I know it's a shock to you.
Producers want their animals to be healthy and live long because it affects their profits. So let them make the best choices for their production.
Pigs reared for meat are usually slaughtered at around 5 to 6 months of age, while their average lifespan is 10 to 15 years. Did you know that, Mrs. Miller? Mrs. Miller, look me in the eye. Did you know that?
I represent a very strong powerhouse ag district in southern Minnesota. Most of my counties have more pigs than people. And the great hog farmers of southern Minnesota are the salt of the earth, folks that have given so much to our communities, to our schools, to our...
I have never seen an industry more coddled than the farming industry. They're talked about like they're fucking war veterans.
Prop 12 was dreamt up by a bunch of folks that have never set foot in a hog barn. They don't understand.
Actually, they have. And that's why you guys keep trying to pass laws to stop them from doing that, called ag-gag laws. So they've been there, they filmed it, they showed the world, and you said, no. No.
We're going to do yes or no questions, if that's okay. Mr. Horde and Mr. Scheidemann, do you care about the
No.
health and well-being of your pigs?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow, so profound. Thank you. Look at that, satisfied. Wow, they gave a good answer. Yes.
All right. Do you consult with veterinarians to ensure that your pigs are well cared for?
Yes.
Yes. Do you ensure daily that your pigs receive adequate nutrition and medications when in time for need?
Absolutely. Yes.
Is your success as a farmer
Hey, he said yes or no. You said absolutely.
directly tied to the health and well-being of your pigs?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So thank you. Again, I knew how you would answer it. I trust you. I trust my neighbors in southern Minnesota.
I knew how you would answer it. I trust you. I trust you blanketly. And thank you again for your donations to my reelection effort. Thank you.
So, Mr. Cook, if we don't stop this patchwork, you believe pork industry will consolidate further? Or sorry, Ms. Cook. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody keeps misgendering her.
If I'm not mistaken, I heard earlier that Illinois somewhere claimed to be the best pork of the world. That's impossible. Mr. Figures knows that is correct, and he knew I was coming. Mr. Chair, we need to strike that from the record because we know that North Carolina has the best barbecue, the pork of all.
Well, if the gentleman will yield, I'm not quite sure about striking from the record, but I'm more than happy to host a.
Wow, let's just all yuck it up for all those pigs killed in North Carolina, which, by the way, has forced residents of North Carolina on the eastern side of North Carolina to file lawsuits because the pork industry, owned by Smithfield, has been spraying shit into their yards. People of color, by the way, forcing them to file a lawsuit, which they won, by the way, as shit, literal shit was sprayed into their yards, causing them health issues, cancer, all this shit. Yeah. So, but yeah, let's joke about it. It's really funny how North Carolinians kill so many pigs. Fuck you.
Off. myself and the ranking member will be the judges, and you two bring it on. Bring the bacon.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Chair and Madam Ranking Member. I do want for the record to enter into the record that Kinston, North Carolina, located in Eastern North Carolina, is the Guinness Book of World
And this dude's from Eastern North Carolina.
Record holder for selling the most pulled barbecue sandwiches in an 8-hour window. And we broke the record after 5 hours.
Yeah, congratulations. You are championing the industry that has killed people in your state, sir. So yeah, well done. Well done. Congrats.
Without
I'm very concerned when I think about why in the world are we here on this topic today. I'm very concerned when one state will take an action that would disrupt commerce in another state. California's law requires significant investment for pork producers across the country, whether they sell into the market or not. Many of you may not know, but North Carolina has longstanding regulations limiting the expansion of sow barns and the building of new barns. Prop 12 and measures like it uniquely burden producers in Eastern North Carolina. Let's be clear. North Carolina's first congressional district, and to be on the record, I have more than 1.3 million hogs and pigs in my district. Way more than people, and we need a fix. A fix. That's the bottom line. People back home trying to figure out what in the world, what do we come up here and do? They need a fix. We need a long-term solution that does not disadvantage Eastern North Carolina producers or others, and potentially put some out of business. I work with anyone, to be clear, anyone on this committee, to come up with that fix and a workable solution.
Here's North Carolina's pork industry.
They are poisoning our soil.
By the way, this isn't funny.
Poisoning our groundwater, poisoning people, fellow Americans. They are stealing from them in the present and stealing from future generations.
If it does not touch you in an emotional way, if you really get in to look at this issue, whether it's from an environmental standpoint, an animal rights issue, whether it's a human rights issue, whether it's an antibiotic use issue, if you can walk away from this saying, no big deal, you need to come talk to me,
This is my state, by the way. Fuck you, Kinston piece of shit.
Take you for 3 days and let you sit down and talk to these people who have to live with this every day. Matter of fact, let me let you live in their shoes for a day and see if it doesn't change your mind.
No, and ain't nobody helping us do nothing. They don't care because we black. We back up in the country. I just hope my house don't get burned up tonight from talking to you. I'm sure he's somewhere peeping now. You can believe that. He got his boys on you.
What make you think you have a right to set up a hog farm and destroy my way of life? People don't have access to clean air and clean water.
Wait. I thought the racists were the people who passed Prop 12. Huh. You know, I've noticed a lot of the people who were speaking in favor of the bill, minus a couple of shit dick fucking Democrats who go fuck yourselves. All the Republicans were white. Democrats had a lot of people of color.
One of the most disturbing stories that I've heard is the sensation of being sprayed with shit, basically.
I have seen this stream filled with feces and urine from this hog operation right up here more than one time.
Almost every fish in the river died. Over 1 billion fish died in a period of about a week and a half.
Everyone else on this road got to help faith. Every one of us, trust me.
Our health is at stake here. To raise animals in this way puts all of us at risk.
It is time that the village stand up, step up, and speak up.
If these people had lived in McMansions, it would have been a different story.
It's the power to control. That's what drives man to the end of sanity.
All the laws protect these industries. No one is protecting us.
Chairman, I want to strike from the record that they said that they had the most pork, that they have the best pork in North Carolina, we have the best pork in North Carolina. Go fuck yourself. The Smell of Money, it's on Amazon Prime. Go watch it. Give it a good review. I take it personal because it's my state. And this dude should know better. But obviously, he doesn't give a shit. And you know what? The pork producers probably got to him too and gave him a nice fat donation.
To not address this, I believe, would be a fatal mistake. Fatal mistake for our pork producers.
Yeah, I wonder if it was a fatal mistake for those people who were featured in the film, two of whom have since passed away. So yeah, Mr. What's your name? Dickhole? Mr. Dickhole. Oh, it's Mr. Davis, I believe.
Constituents. I have a question, Ms. Cook. Given the regulations on building and expanding sow barns in North Carolina, what unique challenges does that present to producers in Eastern North Carolina? Will North Carolina producers be disadvantaged in complying with Prop 12 or a further patchwork compared to other states?
If you knew anything about the industry, you would know that Smithfield owns the vast majority of the pig farms in North Carolina. Smithfield, by the way, sir, since you apparently are unaware of this, is a giant corporation who can afford to fucking squash you like a bug. And I think that's what's going on here, isn't it? Is that what's going on here? Yeah, I think they can afford bigger sow stalls. Dumbass.
Thank you for the question. And in the event that we see more states adopt these measures, or we're facing a patchwork and North Carolina producers need to incur those costs to comply, due to the restrictions that you described, they may have fewer options than other producers in other states. The only option available to them may be to reduce their sow herd, which would reduce their production and their revenues, and that may not be workable for those operations.
When I speak to producers back home, they have a fear of the future of their farms. I mean, there's so much going on right now
Yeah.
in the agriculture community. A whole lot's going on. And I think about cost, disasters we're experiencing in North Carolina, concerns I still hear with tariffs, so much that's out there. And all people want to do is go to work, make an honest day's living. And many of the people back home say to me, I just want to turn it over to the kid for a future generation. That's it. That's it.
And I'd like the record to show that I would like to be part of the pork tasting. So thank you.
Mr. Chair, I claim the record and I yield back one time.
Hey, congratulations, Mr. Davis. You just cucked to Smithfield. A Chinese-owned pork producer and food processing company based in Smithfield, Virginia, who owns all the shit in Eastern North Carolina. Annual revenue of $14 billion. Congratulations, sir. You are a piece of shit. And I hope you lose your seat in Congress. Go fuck yourself. We're close. I'm just going to carry on.
In Iowa. So we'll have you out to the Iowa State Fair, flip some pork chops, and Chairman, Ranking Member, we'll have you both as judges in the case. I think Mr. Horton's going to join us.
This is how it goes.
With this, I also want to say thank you very much to Mr. Schechtman and Ms. Cook. Ms. Cook is actually from the great state of Iowa. In fact, she's helped raise some of that great pork that has come up, and her incredibly family, her mom and dad, are here with her today too. So we're glad to have an
Oh, good. Mom and daddy are here.
Iowa gal here who not only is an accomplished economist, but she's actually seen firsthand how this operates.
Making daddy proud. Just like I said, of course, mom and dad are there.
And that's one of the reasons we're all here today, right? 49 states all want to be able to deliver their products. But for one state, which is telling all the rest of the union, they can't do it. We know this to be true, and this is bad policy out of California. It's not just bad policy, it's an insult to every hardworking farmer in this country who has been doing it right for generations. I know this much to be true. In Iowa, we raise 25 million hogs per year. I know in California, they consume 13% of all pork in this country. So this is not a war against the people of California. This is a clarification of a bad policy that's been taken by a few politicians in Sacramento. Not only is Iowa the top state producing pork, but right now our hog farmers are facing the toughest economy in decades. And the last thing they need is more red tape, not from Washington, D.C., but from the left coast, 2,000 miles away. These regulations aren't just affecting Iowa farmers either. Proposition 12.
Sounds like you need that market. So while you insult the voters of California, you actually really want their money, is it? Maybe you should, what's the technical word? Go fuck yourself?
Has had a tangible impact on consumers across the country. And I'll go back to California on this one. They've seen a price increase of more than 20% on most pork products, with loins costing 41% more than ever before, which means they got to come to the Iowa State Fair as well to be able to get bacon and pork chops actually at a livable wage. The Supreme Court was very clear here. It's up to Congress to help define the space. We all agree interstate commerce is clear. No one state should hold the other 49 hostage. which is exactly why I teamed up with my very good friend, Ashley Hinson, a great representative from Iowa, on Save Our Bacon Act. This is a effort to put the nonsense and
That sounds like a good one. Save Our Bacon Act. You should be so proud.
the federal government back into the driver's seat on interstate commerce and take away the nonsense that's been created by the few. Our bill makes it clear. If you don't grow it, you don't get to regulate it. So, Mr. Schechtman, I'd like to talk with you a little bit here, particularly on the area of workforce safety. What is the most dangerous aspect of Proposition 12 for the producers or workers inside barns every day as a result of this nefarious proposition?
Ooh, a nefarious proposition to give pigs more space.
Is the ability to confine our females at key times. That creates danger for the stockman potentially. As I've talked about a few different.
That's true. I mean, we have to confine our females at key times, you know, when they're nursing. That's true. I mean, I think it's common knowledge, right? When a woman's given birth, you have to put her in a cage for a little while. Got to confine our females. Yeah. You got to give her just enough space that she can't quite turn around. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay.
Times already today, we have developed our system and housing systems with a three-pronged approach in mind and safety of the stockman.
Hey, Holly, was it? Look at Holly. Wonder how what she thought about that comment. Let's go back. Let's see if there was any.
I think if we lose the ability to
any recognition, any glimmer of realization when he said we should got to keep our females confined at certain times. Let's see.
To confine our females at key times, that creates danger for the stockman potentially. As I've talked about a few different times already today, we have.
I don't see anything. Come on, Holly, do it. You can do it. You can do it. Think. I'm watching you, Holly. I'm looking for a glimmer of intelligence. Let's see it.
Developed our system and housing systems with a three-pronged approach in mind, and safety of the stockman being one of those prongs, and welfare of the animal, production of the animal. So truly, one of the dangerous things inside the barn, especially with the breeding herd, is if we don't have control over when and where we can confine our animals a little bit for our safety, for their
Let me
safety.
go back. I want to see this lady.
I think if we lose the ability to confine our females at key times, that creates danger for the stockman potentially. As I've talked about a few different times already today, we have developed our system and housing systems with a three-pronged approach in mind, and safety of the stockman being one of those prongs, and welfare of the animal, production of the animal. So truly, one of the dangerous things.
Well, fuck women's rights, I guess.
Let's not only save our bacon, let's save our family farms. And Mr. Chairman, we look forward to seeing you at the State Fair for that pork competition. I yield my time.
Oh boy, we're having fun. How come all the Republicans are white? I just look. I mean, I remember them saying that it was so racist. That's all I'm saying, guys. That's all I'm saying.
Professor Lashmet, in your testimony, you noted that during the Supreme Court hearing on Prop 12, the state of California highlighted that some farmers had transitioned their operations to be Prop 12 compliant as proof that these adjustments can successfully be made. Given the court's decision to uphold Prop 12, what can Congress learn from those producers about how we can encourage stronger protection for animals while also making sure farmers and ranchers have the support they need to succeed?
I think this is a great example of there being two voices, right, and folks on both sides of this issue. And I think that it would be useful for Congress to speak to producers who have made those compliance decisions to get their input on whether they were useful for the farm, whether they did help to increase what they believe as animal husbandry standards on the farm or not. I think talking to those producers would be very useful.
Thank you. Professor Lashmet, as noted earlier, the Supreme Court upheld California's Prop 12 authority to establish animal welfare standards for products sold in California, affirming states' rights. From your professional perspective, how critical is it for states to maintain authority to enact such state right protections?
I think certainly under the 10th Amendment, any right not reserved to Congress is reserved to the states. And so animal welfare standards are certainly an example of a type of law that has historically been reserved to the states, and they've made those types of laws. Now, certainly we've got the balance there between the 10th Amendment and the Commerce Clause power that Congress has, and I think that's where it's going to be a complex decision for you all to make, to find a balance between you are wanting to act in interstate commerce and still preserving those states' rights under the 10th Amendment.
Thank you. And finally, Professor Lashmet, how can states continue to serve as leaders in addressing complex issues like animal welfare while respecting interstate commerce?
Again, I think that's the balance between that 10th Amendment and the Commerce Clause rights. And I think California, enacted this law that imposes their standards within their own state. And certainly there have been a number of other states, I think 11, that have laws on the books, at least related to egg production, that do impose standards on producers within their own states. The distinction here is California's law also imposes those standards on any product sold within the state, which is broader, whether or not appropriate. I'll leave that to you all, but certainly broader than actions other states have taken.
Great. Thank you so much. Mr. Chair, I yield back.
Please introduce the
Hang
gentleman from North Carolina,
on.
Mr. Harris.
Hang on. I'm confused. Representative Carbajal represents a district in California. Wait. Carbajal was born in Mexico. Wait a second. Does he realize he's supporting a bill that is against Latinos? What say you, Representative Carbajal? Oh, no. Representative Carbajal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And while I appreciate my
boy.
colleague from California talking about the best pork coming from there, I do come from the 8th District of North Carolina, and we all know North Carolina has the best pork. Thank you all.
God. Fucking North Carolina is embarrassing.
On the panel for sharing today.
I'm glad Alma Adams was there.
As we all know, the work of farmers and ranchers is long and grueling, and they're constantly subjected to changing regulations, changing market prices, and weather events. Most producers have long enjoyed the freedom to raise their animals in whatever way is suitable for
Yeah,
their
you know who else is subject to changing laws and changing everybody? Stop sucking the dick of the farm industry. I'm so tired of people sucking the dick of the farm industry. And I believe that's the technical term. I have no other way of describing it. Nobody is getting slobbered on as hard as the farm industry.
individual farming needs.
You could just not send your pork to California. Sounds like you need them.
Right to regulate production within their state. That is something that states have traditionally done. All this does is prevent states from regulating outside.
So, just to keep this technical and mature, why don't y'all bend over nice and slow for the Democrats of California? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys.
Out of their own borders
It's
and
getting
by
late.
putting inspectors onto Iowa farms or North Carolina farms.
We're out of Democrats.
Coming back to the farm. Mr. Skideman, can you talk more about how California's Prop 12 and other similar state regulations will cause further consolidation in the ag industry and what that would mean for rural areas like mine that are already seeing continued loss of population?
He looks like a Republican.
Yeah,
I mean, be honest, guys. You saw this guy, and you had to guess Republican, Democrat. You knew.
touched on this before, but just to say again, the cost of
God, it's like looking in a mirror, isn't it? These guys must be wigging out. Like it's like talking to myself and look at this. Look at
And what that would
this.
mean for rural
It's
areas like mine
uncanny.
that are already seeing continued loss of population.
Yeah, we've touched on this before, but just to say again, the cost of retrofitting
It's like he got just a slightly more of a tan.
facility.
I'm getting out of the farm business completely.
Completely, yep.
Okay, thank you.
Oh dear. Oh dear. But then who would carry on the family legacy?
Can you talk about how Prop 12 is actually worse for animal welfare in many cases?
Yeah, thank you, Congressman. We as farmers certainly are concerned about animal welfare, and it's the priority. If we do not take good care of our animals, then that is a detriment to us and our livelihood.
Yeah. Well, I already showed the footage, but whatever.
Seeking unanimous consent to submit for the record an op-ed by the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau President, Chris Hoffman.
Okay, sure. Submit the Farm Bureau president's op-ed. Gee, I wonder how they feel about it. Who spouted the misinformation? We know Pennsylvania has a lot of Republicans.
And where he offers support for Section 12009 of the Farm Food and National Security Act of 2023.
Didn't they just vote for Trump?
For Without objection, this letter will be entered into the record. And now,
Pretty
please
sure they
introduce
did.
the gentleman from Indiana, Dr. Baird, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank the witnesses for being here. You know, I just can't resist, and I hope you'll indulge me, Mr. Chairman. I just can't resist some of the things I've done in my past, but not all things. Anyway, I have a PhD in monogastric nutrition, and everyone in this room is a monogastric, whether you know it or not, but mono single gastric stomach. And so I'm going to stand up for the pigs in this situation because we need to recognize how capable they are of adapting to various kinds of environment and production systems. And when I was at Purdue working on a master's degree, we compared gestation systems. And one of those was the pasture system. The next was a monoslope group housing where you had a slatted floor up front. We used to call them the Cargill unit. And then we had a tethered unit as well, where you tied them up with the neck. And the thing I want to point out here is that we found over time in that research project, and I found that on the farm when I was growing up, you end up culling those animals that aren't well suited to that environment or that building. And a producer actually knows which is best and which produces the most and most efficient. Absolutely, they know exactly how that works. And so what we found too, as a sideline, I did some work in some of the earliest work in this country. Europe had done it for a long time in artificial insemination in pigs, and that was part of that project. But back to what I wanted to mention.
What is happening?
We found in that research that through natural culling, you actually ended up with a suite of animals or a group of animals that was well suited to that environment. Some of them never really adapted to the tethering situation, for example, but there were others that when they went to the pairing house and came back, they knew where their stall was in that facility and would go back. They tended to be the more timid kinds of individuals. Where out in the pasture, you know, they could interact with other individuals, and in the group housing, you had that same kind of concern. So I just couldn't resist sharing that. And the other thing I would share in terms of pigs, the reason that they look for water and they end up being in mud holes, so to speak, but they do not have sweat glands. So the only means they have to cool themselves is evaporative cooling, and that takes water. And if you really knew pigs, they would prefer to have just a comfortable shower than they would to lay in the mud hole. But that's what it is. And so you got to give these animals credit. And I don't think a lot of people recognize how important it is to have the animals perform well and the efficiency that it takes to be profitable in that situation. So I've probably said enough, Mr. Chairman, but I could share other stories with you. But I can tell you want me to go on. So anyway, I want to ask this question from everyone because
I'm so confused. So he's saying, I'm just stereotyping. So I believe he's a Republican. Let me check the list. Oh boy, keep on getting rid of that page. Why? I need it up. Okay, here we go. Baird. Where is he? I don't see him. Who is this guy? Oh, yeah, Republican from Indiana. So, are you gonna defend gestation crates now after saying you care about the pigs?
national pork producers were concerned about Prop 12, and we've been concerned about Prop 12 for a long time. But Prop 12 doesn't inherently improve animal welfare. In fact, the American Veterinary Medical Association, the largest association representing veterinarians, supports the chairman's fix. They do not support Prop 12 because it fails to follow the science and it limits the flexibility of farmers and vets in order to best serve their animals. So I'd like to ask our producers first, what's your experience with Prop 12 style of housing for sows? Is the injury incidence higher in those situations? And isn't that bad for animals? So I'll start with our two producers, Mr. Ward.
Yeah, Mr. Scientist here. Yeah, giving pigs more space is worse for them.
Thank you, Congressman. Our experience is that animal welfare is a complex issue of multiple things. As you being a PhD, that's impressive, a nutritionist, and you understand there's nutrition, there's animal husbandry, and our experience is that the biggest impact is how we care for them, and how we take care of them is the leading indicator.
We're almost there, guys. Just hang with. Hang with. I don't expect anybody to rewatch this stream, Mary. Right, Felix? Look we're so close.
Of animal welfare. Thank you.
And you certainly have to recognize that, a producer, how are you going to make any money if you don't take care of the animals,
Right.
And so that's a very important aspect of animal husbandry. So
Yep, for sure.
good answer. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Baird, for the question and for your research. I don't have a lot to add to what Mr. Hort said or to your experiences, but just the ability to care for your animals.
Shocker. The farmer doesn't have much to add to this bullshit.
A big piece of husbandry is understanding the animal and knowing how the animal acts and knowing what that animal is going to do. And so I don't have much to add, but I thank you for your experience.
Anyone else care to comment? So anyway, I guess I'd just say, Mr. Chairman, that I guess I've already gone over my time, haven't I? Anyway, thank you for being here and sharing your expertise with us and for this committee. It helps us make better decisions. Thank you. I yield back.
Well, Dr. Baird, thank you for sharing your
Boy,
experience
oh boy.
and your knowledge. Much appreciated, my friend. Before we adjourn, I need to extend my apologies, or the ranking member want to extend her apologies. She was pulled away.
Apology not accepted.
She was hoping that would time up better, but she certainly sends her appreciation to all of our witnesses who took, went through, the time, the cost to travel here and to share your perspectives. And let me add my closing as well. Let's be clear about Prop 12. Prop 12 has hurt small and medium-sized producers. Prop 12 has hurt consumers with increased costs, impacting food affordability. That's something we talk a lot about in a bipartisan.
This is the reason why Ali Tabrizi stopped being vegan. There you have it. I don't know. Time to contact your members of Congress, I guess, right?